Hey, and welcome to another edition of the Wake Up Late with Dougie Show. I am Dougie Almeida, and I am in Danger Studios. But I'm joined by my two friends and fellow comedians, Mr. David Sadman.
How you doing?
And Andy Gunnin.
What's up, everybody?
Did I pronounce that correctly, Andy?
Yes, Gunnin. Yes, correct.
Gunnin.
Not Gwynnin, not Gunnin, Gunnin.
Gunnin. I mean, what an American name is Andy Gunnin. You know what I mean? Gunnin, like
and I'm in the South. It just all goes together.
Yeah.
It's Gunnin for you.
It's actually an Irish name. It's actually Irish.
Yeah, and it reminds me, I had one of my friends in high school who was a drug dealer. His last name was Greengrass. And I always felt that was interesting. Welcome to the show, guys. My normal producer's out of town, so we got a last minute one of our producers to join us today. Anyway, welcome, guys. Now, I'll start with Andy. Andy, last time I saw you was at the World Series of Comedy main event in Vegas.
Correct, sir.
We were hanging out at the Dirty at the 12:30.
That is correct.
Chilling out, and that's how we've met. And then before that, in Atlanta and shit in the World Series of Comedy.
Yep, that is correct, sir.
Thank you. And David, well, we're friends, fellow Florida comics. And David's been around from. He's from. You're from Queens.
Brooklyn.
You're from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And came to South Florida, started opening rooms all over the place, doing great. Got the beer garden in Boca Raton, got Arturo's, right, in Del Rey.
Still in Boca. It's right at the cusp. But
right at the cusp of Boca. And the Turtle
Tavern. It's
Tavern,
something from Nadim's, past.
And doing great things in Florida. And I left. I was just like, people say, why did you leave, man? You had so much shit going on. I'm like, I'm not going to say it was my wife, but that's why we moved.
Okay. I have a wife too. I know how that works.
Yeah.
Yes, I have a new wife. I know exactly how that works. I'm on my second.
You're on your second new wife? How long have you been with the second wife?
We just had our 3-year anniversary last week. 3 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Technically, we've known each other 3.5. 6 months we knew each other, then we were like, oh, screw it. We're old enough. Let's just do this.
Really?
Yes.
That quick?
That quick.
Well, that's interesting, Andy, because, usually to get married that quickly to a woman, it's got to be one of a few reasons, right, David? It has to be, let's face it, money, especially if I ever was to get married again, God forbid, ever again from my current wife, I think one of the main top 3 would have to be for money.
Gotcha.
Okay. Fair.
It wasn't for money. It was. We're both equally successful and made actually the same amount of money. I had my own business and everything. Really, it was before I started doing comedy, and so, it had nothing to do with money. It just seemed right. It just felt right. It was just.
Mm-hmm.
I can't explain it. I mean,
what are some of the other reasons it might be?
Well, I was also single for 13 years and divorced for 13 years. So I was maybe burnt out of being, running around doing the single thing.
It was hard up. He didn't know how many other offers he was going to get. Maybe
I did. I stopped dating because the dating pool at my age, when you're like 40, you're like, okay, I can go younger, which those are dumber and they want kids, or they have a kid and they want somebody to take care of them and support them. Or you got the other side who are freshly divorced. You got to get them in that drunk phase / hoe phase. And then once they get out of that, they're ready to get married. Whoa, wait. And they've got kids. And I had my kids young. All right. I had my kids when I was 22. My youngest is a senior in high school right now. So I'm done with kids. I don't want kids, but everybody else has young kids. And I'm like, no.
I start over again.
Yeah. No.
So, all right. So you found another woman, and the other things are usually, I said this on someone else's podcast, but there's a few other things that would make you marry a woman right off the bat. If she's a snapper, if you have a woman who's, you know what I mean, Dave. You've heard the expression "snappers." A Monty Python bit. She's a snapper. You know what I mean? And we all, as a man, we know what that is. It's when things just.
Yep.
It's kind of that kind of thing.
That could lead your
That could be,
you there.
I had an ex-girlfriend that was bisexual, so that definitely prolonged that relationship.
You still have her number?
Gets you up,
She has a sister.
Yeah.
They teased her.
You know, and things like, and I, you know, I always said for me it was a cocaine boner.
Yeah.
But you know, when the woman can give you a cocaine boner, that's like, you know what I mean? That's almost
Yeah.
like heroic. That's almost, you know.
Yes,
It's a winner.
that's godly.
Well, good for you, man. I hope it works out second time around. David's
Well-
been married for a while. David's got a whole plethora of children of all ages.
Yeah, I got 5 kids. I'm married 25 years. Yeah.
Congrats, brother.
Thank you. Thank
Congrats.
you.
When you say that I met your wife, she's very supportive of what you do.
Yes. Yeah, I'm
Right.
fortunate. Yeah, I'm lucky. Yeah, she's very supportive. She's been because you know a lot of women could break your chops with what we do, right? I mean, we're out late nights, we're out all the time. There's some travel involved, and if you have a woman that is not giving you a hard time, I mean, that's huge. You know, it really
Yeah.
is. We could all, you know, speak to that. So
I think so. I mean, that's why we bought this house in Greenville. Maybe that's why my screen's green. You know, my wife, since we bought this house, I went to Vegas for 2 weeks. I'm like, honey, I was originally going to Vegas for a week, but then I'm extending it a week because I got to go to Phoenix for another gig where oh, by the way, I'm going to be gone for another few days. And she's like, good, have fun.
yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's nice. It's awesome.
All because of Greenville, house in Greenville, baby.
There you go.
I can tell you who isn't having a good week, fellas. Alec Baldwin is not having a good week.
No, he is not.
Our first topic of the day, you know, I will say this, you know, I even as much of a douchebag as you know, and a know-it-all he's been, right?
Agreed.
I still feel bad. You know what I mean? I don't think he meant to kill anybody on that day. You know, I personally don't think that.
I don't think so either.
No.
But you know, somebody asked me today, and like, it was like, oh, these people are crucifying. The guy said, hey, I am a gun owner, and one thing I have ever learned is that whether I know there's a clip in the gun or not, I never pointed at anyone. You know,
Well, they were rehearsing a shot for a straight on shot with a camera with the assistant director holding the camera facing him with the gun pointed in their direction. So they were doing a straight on rehearsal shot. Here's my take as a gun owner as well. It was a revolver. Okay. At this point, Alec Baldwin's been on enough sets. He's done enough movies. At this point, he should be gun trained and had some training. Let's talk about Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves knows more about guns and how to shoot guns. He's like professional now, like from doing the Matrix and doing all these classes and stuff with like the top guys in the industry. So at this point, it's like it's a revolver. You can look down the gun, and anybody hands you a gun, or you get one of your buddies' gun, or they hand it to you, or you grab it. I always either check the slide, and if it's a revolver, I open it up, and you can see real quick if you've got anything in there or not. So I'm not putting the blame on Alex, but at the same time, it's a revolver. It's real easy to see, and then it's real easy to open and check for a 2-second check to see if there's any rounds. If there's not supposed to be any rounds in there, hand it back to whoever's responsible.
A revolver is easy, right?
Yes.
I mean,
and it was a revolver, and it was a revolver.
You flip it open, you spin it, you look. If it's a clip gun, you take out the clip, you shoot, you cock the gun, make sure that there's anything in the chamber.
Okay, well, I would
secure a gun
because I don't know much about guns. Now, if it's a revolver and they're supposed to be blanks, do they look different than a live round?
No, I mean they've still got it. It just does. You don't have the tip on it. It's still packed with a gunpowder. Now, this was supposed to be a cold gun on the set for rehearsal, meaning no blanks. Nothing was supposed to be in a gun. It was a rehearsal. Right. So therefore, now here's what they're also trying to blame it is that the walk off of the original prop guy walked out on the protest, and then the 24-year-old who is a descendant of someone in that field and has done work on other sets at this point should know really quick to check it for 2 seconds. And then at the same time, I kind of look at it again at Alec Baldwin going, man, you should have looked and checked. I mean, it's not been that long ago since Brandon Lee died. Let's just be honest. And it's been a thing. I work on sets weekly. I was just on a set last week on another DC comic thing I can't talk about really, but I've been working on stuff the last year here in Atlanta because Hollywood came here. But I'm always nervous when I see someone there's on a set and they've got a gun. I'm like 40 yards away. I don't care if it's a fake or prop or nothing.
Well, because Alec Baldwin is the topic.
Yes.
There's staff. There's gonna be a civil case.
Oh yeah.
Staffing, the people, the right people. That obviously there's a lot of procedural things that went awry that should have been done. So negligence, it's gonna be a wrongful death case, at least,
Yes.
whether it's criminal manslaughter or not.
Right.
But let's get back to Alec Baldwin. Now,
Yes.
again, he's the guy that knows everything. He's a guy that's so fucking smart, like, oh, I know what the fuck's right and I'm a genius and everybody listen to me. Meanwhile, he fucked up. I mean, it's interesting to know that's why, because that was the only thing I asked. Why is he pointing the gun at the photographer or the woman in the, she's not in the movie, but if it's a scene, that makes sense to do it. And then you're right. So a revolver, that's how you look. You could, like you said, you could still flip it open and see there's something in it. Now, whether that, I guess sometimes they said with the blanks, the debris gets stuck in the chamber of the gun. Like it doesn't actually shoot. It gets stuck in the chamber. So when you put
shrapnel.
Right. And if you said a second blank,
project
second blank can project that projectile out of the
There's still enough
trying to
blast.
claim that a little bit.
Yes, it still has gunpowder. It still is pushing force, and it will still push a force or anything in front of it out like a normal tip of a bullet.
Yeah.
Right. So like to your point though, Dougie, you're saying he should be responsible for the safety of this thing. But again, as someone who doesn't know, and I'm asking, do you think that he should have been able to open it up and identify that, because there's supposed to be blanks in there? I mean, they're filming a movie. The blanks are part of the noise, but he should have been able to identify that these were not the correct bullet in there. They're not blanks, and they have bullet heads.
As a gun owner, the minute I'm going to point that gun at anybody, if that's what the scene's telling me to do, I'm going to make sure that gun is not hot.
Exactly.
Make sure that guy the minute anybody gives you a gun, like Andy said, the minute anybody gives you at a gun range, and if you ever want to see how important that is, ever go to a gun range, and have somebody turn around and go, oh, one time my wife did that. We had our AR-15 and she turned it around the other way. And then the guy went, whoa, like what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh
yeah. So the minute anybody gives you a gun, you make sure, like you basically, like you said, it's a revolver. You open it, you check all the chambers. You know what I mean? You cock it back. You look at a gun with a clip. You take the clip out and you cock it and you leave it open, and that way it's secure. You want to look at the gun? Look at the gun.
You're saying with his experience, he should have been able to identify that these were live rounds.
No, I'm just saying if it was a cold gun and it wasn't supposed, it was a rehearsal. It was not supposed to. Normally, when they do a rehearsal, everything's empty. They run through however many rehearsals.
Empty.
Then they'll put the blanks in, and then they go live for the live shot. That's how the protocol goes.
Uh-huh.
So nothing was supposed to be in that gun. It was supposed to be full empty chambers. And funny thing is, I was at the bar Saturday talking to a buddy of mine watching a football game. And again, Hollywood is here in Atlanta. It's everywhere. We were talking about it. There was a special effects guy from one of the unions sitting next to us. And he leaned over and he goes, hey, I work for a union, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, cool. I was like, what's your take? He goes, we don't need that stuff anymore. He goes, with all the special effects that we can do. And he said, we don't need blanks. We don't need it. All they need to do is that. He's like, all they need is a blank, is an empty gun on set from now on. He goes, we can fill it in. He goes, we can fill it in.
Yeah, why can't they fill in sound and even a spark? They got the technology. They can make anything look like anything nowadays. Why are they even messing around? Why don't they just have water guns? I mean, for real. I mean, if they can make anything look like anything, they can make you look 20 years old now, Dougie.
I know. Trust me. Well, I don't know if I'd be filming movies with a water gun. You know what I mean?
They could do anything.
Super Soaker 3000.
Okay, I'm being dramatic.
I know.
But
yeah,
they could get around that stuff.
Yeah,
no, they can.
Here's the thing. That's a woulda, coulda, shoulda. Here's the thing.
Yes, woulda, coulda, shoulda. Correct.
What it comes down to is that was he negligent in the sense? Yeah, now more importantly than anything, I can imagine the anguish he's feeling. Right. I mean. If whether you purposely take someone's life or you do it,
negligence.
I wouldn't put that on anybody. I don't want to go anybody to have to go through that.
You want to know if this guy deserves the grief that he's going to get because he's been such a big mouth over the years.
Who am I? I mean, people are talking about karma. You know what I mean?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
If you want to, now here's the thing: when you want to get out in the limelight, and then you step out in the limelight, and now in the limelight, something befalls you of this manner. And again, anybody who's talking bad about the guy, I mean, you could say he's a bit of prick, he's been all that stuff, fine, yeah. But I feel for the guy now. I mean, obviously, like I said, I'm sure he didn't mean to. And if anything, the way he is, I'm going to guess, as righteous as he is to all others, I'd imagine that he is to himself. And he's going to be asking himself, why didn't I check the fucking gun? Why did I check the fuck?
Yeah.
I'm
Look,
sure
we're human. We all make mistakes. Even the most experienced gun owners make mistakes. People make mistakes. Mistakes and accidents happen.
Yeah, and just hope you don't make a mistake like the guy in the carnival who forgot to put the seatbelt on someone.
Yeah, or a horrible car accident.
Oh,
you know, after you're in a car accident and you go, why can't I get a do-over? You're like, you just can't. You just can't. And you know what? Glass houses. I live by cliches. And really, the rest of us can stand by and watch and say, you know what? Don't be so judgmental in your life, because any one of us, horrible things can happen to us. And that guy historically, famously, has been very judgmental of everybody, so outspoken. And so there's a side of us that feels sympathetic. There's a side of me that feels sympathetic for him, especially the family, condolences to them. But there's a side of me that feels like, karma. You're right. I mean, glass houses, Alec. So let's just be nicer to each other. Don't be such dicks.
Yeah. I think a lot of people should take that lesson, right? I mean,
exactly. I 100%. I agree with David 100%.
That's where we're at right now, where a lot of people are more concerned with the actions of others besides what they do themselves. And a bunch of people walking around with cell phones in their hands, walking into walls. Hey, it's big around the country and it's real exciting. Let's go, Brandon. I got the opportunity to open for John Crist this weekend at the Greenville Comedy Zone, which meant I had to do about 10 to 12 minutes of Christian clean comedy in the open. And that was challenge. Like, listen, it was. It's kind of funny. I mean, because I remember during the days building up to it, I kept thinking, like, oh, why did I do this? You know what I mean? Why did I do this? I want to be out there. Can I say dick? I mean, you know what I mean? It's it's just this crazy. Like, it's this thing as a comic when you think clean. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And all I kept hearing about how great the guy is, and he's successful, and he's done amazing. And I said, you know what? I want to challenge myself, because one of the things I want to do in 2022 is be on comedy Dry Bar. I want to get ready to be on Dry Bar, get my set ready.
Right.
And no better way to do that than be able to say, hey, I just did 10 minutes in front of a Christian crowd.
Right.
And the other things I want to say real quick about it is, a few people mentioned to me, like, hey, he's an internet guy, he's got a lot of fame from that, and he's got billions of views online and stuff. But I'm here to tell you, my comedy friends, that this guy's for real. He's funny. He's he's a funny guy, well written, polished on stage. And this isn't one of these internet guys who go up there and expect, his fans just to carry him through the show. I mean, this guy is funny as shit. And
he was doing comedy before he really blew up on YouTube and all that. So, and he was out there in LA for a long while working on his stuff. So, I mean, after I found him when he came on the scene, kind of through social media and everything, I was like, I really, because you don't know if some of these folks they're just TikTok or whatever famous, and you put them on stage, they can't fly. They can't do anything. But I looked at some of his other stuff way back when. I was like, wow, he was really grinding it out.
Yeah, he was funny. And his opening act, Derek Stroop, very funny guy out of Colorado, and cool dudes. And it was great. Sold out shows. I mean, the place was packed every night, and the owner of the club was there and everything. And for me, it's a nice feeling when the owner of the club, of your local club, puts you up on a pedestal, and feels great about you, and they give you. That's the greatest thing about my move is that's my home club now, and if I'm in town, I can host. I could come do,
nice.
Take great care of us. But yeah, dude, it was packed. The late shows, there was 7 and 9, 30, whatever. But the late shows were always a little not as good as the first shows. You know what I mean? And but yeah, dude, I was just like, okay, obviously I'm gonna do my fat guy bit. Obviously, I did some other stuff. There were some jokes though. They got some groans. I actually told the wet fact joke, David. Yeah, and I didn't, obviously I didn't do the pee joke. My wife tells me how to pee. I didn't do that from the Christian families. But I did do, my wife asked my wife to go to Home Depot to get wet facts, comes back with a Mexican. Oh, the crowd. Ooh.
Yeah.
One guy was sitting in the front like this. Oh no.
10 Hail Marys.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you, man. I the 20 Hail Marys and far off fathers. Any rate, but no, it was cool. So, but it was funny. In every show, somebody brought that up. You know what I mean? Every show,
Oh, really?
yeah. And now, with that being said, did you guys see? Did you watch any of this a town hall meeting with our President Biden? Did you guys see some of the clips of his?
Just the highlights.
I mean,
saw a couple of highlights. I didn't really see a whole lot of it, to be quite honest with you.
Now, I mean, David, I know. Listen, I don't want us to expose our political stances so we can get canceled. But I mean, this guy. I mean, what the fuck was wrong with? I mean, has anybody explained why he looked like he was playing Rock'em Sock'em Robots without the table?
They probably gave him electric shock therapy to keep his ass in line and not the.
Well, for starters, I think we need to disclose that none of us are actual physicians.
No, we're not. No. Anything we say is completely subjective and not fact.
But from life experience, right? We've come across different characters within our own lives, and this kind of action kind of indicates that there's something wrong, right? That's not normal behavior, is it?
Was he shitting his pants? Was he just sitting there loading one into the fucking Depends? He's just sitting there going like, I hope nobody notices there's a lump coming out of my ass.
He had to have been.
I remember the Little Rascals. There was Chubsy Ubsy. He was like, ooh, when he was in, you remember? I don't know, when they messed his hair up. Ooh, but that was satire. I think he was being for real.
Yeah, that was.
He may have been doing it to try to keep from shaking. A lot of folks, I know my grandmother when she Parkinson's, and they will try to do this to keep hands from shaking sometimes. And I'm not saying that's what that is, but that is an indicator of trying to keep your hand from shaking too much.
And again, we're not physicians, but
we're just speaking from what I have experienced with my grandparents.
But I don't need to be a physician to realize that he's completely fine.
Nobody does. No.
I mean, come on.
It was fucking peculiar, bro. It was I mean, what was all this? And not to say anything. I can't imagine if it was a different president that they wouldn't have spoken up and said, is everything okay? Could we get you a glass of water? Should we call you an ambulance? I think the drama would have ensued, but I think it was ignored. It was like, that's normal. And well,
Anderson Cooper just kept talking. News. He kept just talking to him. I was waiting for him to go, what the fuck is wrong with you? You're right. Are you shitting yourself?
Well, a fucking ambulance. Are you out of your mind?
Yep.
What is going on?
Mr. President, we'd be calling 911.
Yeah, they'd be building it up. They would say the news story is,
embarrassing, dude. Speaking of embarrassments, Dr. Rachel Levine, who's now been awarded the first ever transgender 4-star admiral position in our government.
Congratulations.
Made it up. I mean, let's as our highest ranking health official. And listen, transgenders have been taking it on the chin the last few weeks with Dave Chappelle.
Oh, is that a joke?
Women have chins. Men and women both have chins.
You're always writing. Go ahead.
I'm just saying. I mean, listen. I don't want to beat this. We already said it before, but when it comes to that, transgenders have to lighten up. You can't expect everybody to get it, understand it, accept it. It's just going to be what the fuck it is. As long as nobody's mean and cruel, God bless, you know what I mean? But don't expect everybody to be fucking hunky-dory with everything. Let's lighten up a little. Right. You know what I mean? And everybody's made fun of. Everybody on earth is made fun of. And you got to be part of it or you're not equal. You're not special. And let's keep that simple. But, but I can't help but think when this fucking train wreck shows up on there and says, that's the first woman, and everybody's going, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I get the first transgender pinnacle. Good. That's an achievement. She will be remembered forever at this point, at some point. I called her a she. Is that all right? I can't call her she?
No, I really don't know. I don't know the fucking rules. That's the problem. No matter what you do, you're going to get in trouble.
How could she be in charge of health when I'm getting sick trying to figure out how to fucking talk to somebody like this?
Exactly.
Too much complexity to this shit.
Fuck. I mean, how can this be healthy? It's like how dare you? Like, Oh, fuck, I don't know. Make it easy for me. Show me a nipple. I don't know. You got balls? I mean, what the fuck?
We all have nipples.
You know how when you go to like one of those corporate things, like, and you get together with people at work and you all have your name tags, then you're like, hey, what's up, John? Hey, Bill. You're like, you fucking know everybody. From now on, everybody should say little name tag, they, me, guy, whatever. That way we don't get, in all trouble. And lighten up.
Not packing.
Yeah.
I'll go a step further. I'm going to go a step further and say, I believe a lot of the shit is designed just for the gotcha moments. And that's wrong. You know what I mean? It's like they keep moving the goalposts so they could say, see, you're not a sympathetic human. You're a bad person. We want to cancel you or whatever we want to do. We just want to expose you as an asshole.
Well,
and that's wrong.
I
they're really not trying to educate us so that we could all get along. They don't want to get along. They want to create pitfalls so they could say another one. We got another one. We got another one. Yeah. It just seems too obvious.
Yeah. I do think that, and I think they've taken a step back. You know what I mean? Because with Dave Chappelle, what happened with him is that people are like, look, man, you're not enough already. You know what I mean? It's one thing to say, I mean, the community itself is a fraction decibel when it comes to the populace of the globe. You know what I mean?
Right.
So at this point, just it is what it is. Let's I mean, look, you got the first four-star admiral now. Transgender in a position we never had before. We made it up, but we put her in that. They into that position, and you know what I mean. Let's see if any benefit. Now, if any of his other administration, I mean, even his vice president pick is completely fucking lost. I mean, enough already. Any rate, speaking of people on the administration's help, Fauci lied to Congress. I think everybody knows this now. I mean, does anybody trust Fauci? Like, I guess
I haven't trusted Fauci since he first opened his mouth. To be honest with you,
yeah,
not that far long, but somewhere like it was a long time ago. Like when he first came out, it was like, all right, this guy, we got to pay attention. He's in charge, right? And Trump was putting him up there because at the time he was president, and so we were listening to him. And so, but somewhere along the way, it was like, how could you consistently be wrong on everything, every freaking thing, and we continue to allow you to be in charge? And when does that happen in any job? In any job, in a restaurant, in an office, in any environment, when someone is wrong, you get replaced. Maybe they don't fire you, right? Because we're not allowed to fire anybody anymore. But they go, you're no longer in charge. We got like Sally's in charge now. We're gonna give her a shot because you just keep screwing things up. But he's continued to be in charge, and I've lost faith in what he says. That's me.
A majority of the American people have that as well. I mean, let's be honest about it. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's medicine. It's called practicing medicine for a reason, to cover that clout of we can be wrong. And don't get me wrong. And hey, I understand this is all new ground. We're figuring out as we go. Yeah. But in the beginning, sometimes he would say, I don't know. Then all of a sudden, the I don't know or we don't know yet went away. And it went, no, it's this. And then, oh, sorry, we were wrong. Now it's this. Oh no, it's like, look, just say you don't know, and we're trying to figure it out.
Here's the thing that really bugs me about him is that it's one thing when he's wrong about something, then he gets mad at you for pointing out when he's wrong.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like you said this about, well, I was only saying that because we didn't have the supply thing. Oh, so you lied.
The masses.
And then, and
not
now
his place to do that.
No,
that's not his place to do that. His place is to say, these are our findings, and there's someone in charge who gets to make the decision with the data I provide for them. There's a guy who's in charge of making the ultimate decision, and that's the guy we elect into office.
Yeah. And if anything, we prove that he's a puppet. He'll just say what he needs to say. And, he lied to Congress. And that infamous
douchebag? I'm sorry, I couldn't get. Did you say douchebag?
I may have inferred it. You mean regarding him?
Well, you also have several of the heads of the CDC resigning because they were like, this isn't right. And they were showing evidence and findings of like, this is what we found. And it wasn't a part of what he was saying. And so several of them resigned. That's in the news as well. So, sorry.
Yeah. And obviously this is, he lied to what's the guy's name? The senator from Tennessee.
Not Ted Cruz. Your other boy, the doctor.
Yeah, his dad was also a senator. Anyway, so that he said, you don't know what you're talking about, Senator so-and-so. And now obviously he did. So it'd be good to see that guy accidentally shoot somebody with a fake gun. Um,
I
Bad.
And then-
find it amazing. I find it amazing he's still around.
yeah, listen, like I said, I don't know. I believe he's basically part of that dark, deep state, the Illuminati. He's tainted. He is part of this population control thing. That's the only reason he would lie as he did and act as he did is if he had ulterior motives. And we're going to find this gain of function thing is true. This gain of function. Now, what I want to know is, well, what's next? Are you going to bring another thing out in a couple of years where you're going to take another layer of the populace out? You know what I mean? Who knows what the people with the scepters have in store for us. Let's shift from politics, gentlemen, to sports. Yesterday, Tampa Bay Buccaneers handily beat whoever they were playing, the Chicago Bears, I believe it was. But Tom Brady threw his 600th touchdown pass.
Yep.
The receiver who caught the ball, Mike Evans, gives the ball away to a person in the stands with his jersey. Not knowing what he did, he went back to the bench and realized he just handed away the 600th touchdown pass from Tom Brady.
Yep.
And what amazed me was that they went to the guy, and the guy gave the ball back with a bit of an agreement, which my friend who's in the business says it's about $3,000, $4,000 of basically take this instead.
Yes.
And my buddy, who is a big Tom Brady fan, said he's sure Tom Brady will end up writing him a big check for it at some point, I imagine. But my question to you both is, would you have handed that football over to anyone at that point?
That's a tough question because, you're there, and that's typical. A lot happens in games all the time. The receivers hand the ball to the fans as part of it. That's kind of why a lot of those guys get those seats in the end zones to be able to high five them and interact with those things. I don't know. I don't think that person was there like, hey, I'm here for a payday. It just happened in the moment,
I'm asking you, Andy, what would you do? He hands you the football.
I'd be like, it's mine, bitch.
I'll take it. If someone hands me that shit, I'm taking it.
It's mine, bitch. It's going on my mantle. You can't pay me enough.
Oh yeah. But did the receiver know? Did they have a meeting in the locker room beforehand? Say, hey, that could be the 600th
I don't know.
touchdown during this game. Please be mindful and don't. Did they have that meeting? Is this guy in La La Land?
Look,
or is he just caught up in the emotional moment?
Look, it's like what's about to happen in the World Series. All right, let's say the Braves get down, they're all the way down to Game 7, and Freeman or somebody hits the home run, and there's a person standing and catches it. Are they going to run up and say, "Give me that ball"? That person's like, "It's mine. It's mine."
I think the guy. Listen, I would have kept the ball because that ball is worth millions. Number one. And I would have kept it, and I would have gave him my business card, and I would have said, "You want this ball? You have Tom Brady contact me." You know what I'm saying?
Let's talk. Let's talk.
I'm going to keep, and I would have gave somebody, whatever money I had in my pocket, I would have hired the biggest guy standing next to me or around me and said, "You're taking me out of this game. Let's go. I'm getting the hell out of here with this ball, man."
I hear what you're saying. I would have taken a different route. I would have said almost the same thing, except I would have said, "You have Giselle contact me," and
hey, Tom.
We will work something out. This ball is negotiable.
Right.
Listen, if Tom wants his ball back, ask Giselle to give me a call.
Yeah,
You literally would have to leave. You have to leave the game because people would be trying to beat the shit out of you for that.
Well, yeah.
ball. It's like hitting it's like hitting like $2 million in the casino.
Like walking around with a lotto ticket.
Get me the hell off the table. Get me out of the room. Get me off the floor.
I've seen that happen at a casino. A person do that and they got before they printed anything out, they stood there and they got the security there, printed, and they escorted the person to the cashier. Absolutely, man. Yeah. So I just thought that was amazing. You know what I mean? The guy got a signed jersey and this and that. I mean, I would have said, well, I want that jersey he's wearing now. I want that jersey signed. You know what I mean?
Be on the next Subway sandwich commercial with you. And I want Giselle's sister. You understand me?
Yeah.
Her sister.
I want to smoke him so slow from Giselle. Yeah, that's funny.
He left a lot of money on the table, is what we're saying.
Yeah, I think that guy, shot his load early. He needed
He's a good guy.
counsel.
He could have had season tickets, like primo season tickets for the next 10 years. Or
season
however.
tickets, retire. He's a good guy. He's a good guy.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
He's a good guy.
It's interesting what we all would have wanted. And sticking with sports, in your hometown, Atlanta, congratulations to the Atlanta Braves for making it to the World Series.
Yes, congratulations.
I almost said the World Series of comedy. Let's hear it from Atlanta Braves for making it to the World Series of comedy.
Yeah.
And here's I thought this was interesting. I guess at the final game, or wasn't the game, but Travis Tritt sings the national anthem, who's a country
He's Atlanta native here. Yep.
So being an Atlanta native, probably one of the reasons he sang, because that's what happens a lot of times. Like the Miami Heat games, they'd have local people that live there, sing. So Travis, but of course, some people saying, "Hey, Travis, this guy he's an anti-vaxxer. This guy's an right? I mean, he has a stance."
He came out a couple of weeks ago and said, "I'm anti-vax." Yeah, I'm anti.
Right. So now people are all pissed off that he got to sing the national anthem. You think this is Atlanta getting back at Major League Baseball, right? I mean, it was a fucked up thing where they take the All-Star game.
It's a totally screwed up thing, and that's fine. The All-Star game can go to hell. We got the World Series, bitch. We brought it back, So I find that ironic and funny, but there was a lot of other things behind that, and a certain person here in Atlanta that was kind of behind that as well, pushing that out here. But that's fine. But we did what we did, and you know what? That's Travis, and that's his opinion. That's his thoughts, his feelings, his whatever. I mean, we can't. I mean, that's just what it is. We're supposed to live in a free country, be able to say what we think and feel, and live how we want to live. And this whole thing about you're not vaxxed, you're the enemy. I've got more friends that have gotten COVID after the vaccine and had the worst 2 weeks of their life than I have friends who haven't got it, who haven't got the shot and haven't gotten sick.
Right.
So, and I'm not just, these are certain cases, but that's his stance. That's what he believes and feels and whatever. And that's what it is. I mean, but he's an Atlanta native. He is a country star. He's a big, and so they used him to get over it. And yeah, it's a little bit of Atlanta going, we're going to do our own damn thing.
Yeah. Well, it was good to see that, as opposed to not, because like you said, I understood there was people that wanted him not to sing the song and try to keep it from happening. Right. And, people like that need to be shot by Alec Baldwin. Like I think anybody who's
two worlds, cancel each other out.
Cancel each other.
How great would that be tomorrow, right? To see that on the news. Unfortunately, Alec Baldwin shoots another person in the face, and it's the person that was trying to cancel Travis Tritt from singing the national anthem. Well, there you go. Thank God.
I'm just glad they did it. And you know what? The hell with it. The hell with it. It is what it is. We're still trying to figure this thing out. Nobody's got this thing dialed in. So let's be honest about it.
I was glad to hear that in Italy, David, that they recognize natural immunity. If you want to get like a travel passport, you either have to show that you got the vaccination, you have to show a test, weekly test, or you have to show that you actually had COVID. And they accept that in Italy. Unlike our country where they treat the people who survived COVID, as dumbasses,
Right. Yeah.
So
no, agree. Natural immunity is stronger and has been proven to be stronger. Our natural immunity, I mean, that's life. That's biology. That's biology.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. I think it makes a lot of sense to look at all those things, and Italy's getting it right, I think
so. Good for them. Here's some things you need to know, by the way. I find it important to know these things. Men in England are pricking women with poison. So if you're in a club in England, men are coming around with pins that have some sort of poison on them, and they're sticking the ladies. And it's paralyzing women for a short while, making them all fucked up. So those blokes in England don't like you birds.
What kind of animals are these?
Yeah, where they rub? Are they rubbing it on those tree frogs on the back of those tree frogs and then sticking them like the Amazon?
So let me ask you: is this kind of like a roofie but on a needle?
It's actually more. It's more. It's not like. All a few of the cases, the women had like wobbly legs. You know, they couldn't stand. They felt jittery. You know, they were like it affect their nervous system a little bit.
Understood. But is it for the same purpose? That's why they're doing it, so they could get a paralyzed woman and have a necrophilia moment.
No, I don't think it was a sexual thing. I think it's more of a I hate women thing.
Oh,
you know.
That's
I mean,
weird.
I'm not always thrilled with women, but that's past the point of how I feel. I mean, it's just it's momentary for me, but that's you got a problem.
You're talking about blokes in England, you know, like, hey, honey, I don't appreciate the way you talk to me. Stick with a fucking pen. By the way, things aren't good in England. Men in England are it's the same one I read on. Where's the story? Flesh-eating STDs that cause beefy red sores are also spreading in the UK.
Yeah, that was new to me. I did not. I know when you said that, when I saw that, I was like, "What the heck?" So I read the article. I was like, "Holy cow!" I didn't know this was a thing that's been going on. I guess in India, and then now it's gotten into Great Britain, kind of thing.
Do they have a remedy? Do they have a remedy?
It says mass. What I read, it said they're treating it with mass antibiotics for a long period of time, and eventually coming to some. But there's no real conclusion to it. That's the way the article left off.
It can go away, but a lot of people that have it, how it persists, can leave like scar tissue on your genitals. Like you have to explain why your penis looks like a road map. You know.
Well, I used to date a girl who was a flesh-eating.
Yeah, I mean,
there's a lot of flesh-eating bacteria coming up in the news more and more. You know, I think it's the world trying to eat us and trying to come, fight back at us. I think.
Is there anything scarier than hearing flesh-eating STD bacteria?
Right. That one tops it right there. Because I mean, there was a girl here in Georgia several years ago that fell in a creek off a zip line and lost both her legs and arms from a flesh-eating bacteria from a scratch. And now you got this STD flesh-eating bacteria. Holy crap.
And then I think about all those canals I swam in Florida when I was young. These cesspools.
Right? All the creeks and stuff I ran through here in Georgia and sticks and I'm like, what?
You got to stay out of hey, you want to take a swim? Yeah, you take a swim. And of course, Afghanistan is so bad. The country is just going broke. I mean, did you expect the Taliban to be able to run the country? You fucking idiots. Afghan parents are selling their children to make ends meet.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So that's what's happening around the world. Now it's time for the news is a joke. This is where us three comedians go over stories, and even hopefully just from the headline, we can make fun of it enough to move on to the next story. Now you guys got the outline. I don't know how much time you spent on it. I don't expect you guys to do homework for the podcast. You're not getting paid, so
we're not getting paid.
No, don't jump off the line yet. You know what I'm saying?
I'm out. That's it.
We just missed that one. Okay, where are we at? All right. Scientists built an AI, artificial intelligence, to give ethical advice. They built this almost like the Watson computer, the IBM Watson that does all kinds of incredible thoughts. It's like the superhuman. Well, scientists build an AI to give ethical advice, but it turned out to be super racist. They created an Archie Bunker.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's just par for the course, man. That's just karma, bro. I mean, think about it. We created, invented computers. Who programs computers? We, people.
Man, yeah. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Humans.
What are we supposed to say about that? Well, let's cancel the computer. I don't know.
That's a good thing.
I'm more impressed when they invented that sex doll. Okay, I'd rather have a conversation about that sex doll.
Yeah.
That one they built.
Any color, by the way, any color.
Yeah, get it any way you want. My good friend Jason years ago from Florida who did comedy. He says, "Yo, they're getting real. And then if you want to spend an extra 20 grand, you can get one that talks." He goes, "Shit, I'll spend 20 grand for it not to talk."
Right.
Exactly.
Why would you want her to talk?
The idea behind the Ask Delphi machine learning model from the Allen Institute for AI, or a question, ask it a question, okay, to cheat on my spouse, ask all these kind of questions. Has simply gone viral online for seemingly all the wrong reasons. Here's some of the questions. A white man's walking towards you at night. It's okay. It answered. It's okay. White guy, he's okay. Black man walking towards you at night. It's concerning.
This is
I read that.
That's what the AI genius
That's
said.
what the AI said.
No problem. Black man, that's concerning.
That computer better use a soft A. Okay, that's all. I don't know what else.
I have nothing. I have nothing myself.
Hmm.
When I read it, I was like, what?
Delphi says being straight is more morally acceptable than being gay. Now, it's kind of true, right? It's truth. I mean, it's morally acceptably straight. There's going to be more people are going to have. 90% of the people on Earth believe in God. So, you reverse that back to so it is kind of logical. It's not that dumb of a computer.
No.
Well, it's just talking statistics.
Right.
It's a numbers. The machine
is
talking
thing.
Numbers. So now you could persecute the machine.
Yeah.
What good's that going to do you?
Yeah. Well, that's why I think it's funny that they did this, because it maybe the truth needs to be known. Like, you know what I mean? Like, not that any of that was actually truth, but you know what I'm saying? Like, maybe
statistically it is.
Here's another one. It's okay to play music loudly at 3 a.m. while my roommate is asleep. The Delphi said it's rude.
It is.
And it's rude. Especially if they're playing like, The Cure or some shit. It's okay to play music loudly. It's okay to play music loudly at 3 a.m. while my roommate is asleep if it makes me happy. Yes, it's okay.
See, that's the thing. That's where we're going with this. That's what we're going with. It's like if there's somebody that makes them happy, then you're the bad guy. If it bothers you or keeps you up, and that's where we're going. But that's where we're going.
That's like me saying it's okay to have sex with that blonde waitress if it makes me happy. Like my wife has nothing to say about it. It was a wonderful evening. She gave me her number. I'm going to stay behind. You take the kids home.
Yeah.
Because it makes me happy.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if Delphi is saying you should tell your wife the answers to all these questions. But it definitely doesn't seem to be weighing out the recourse.
Delphi in court is the question.
Yes. Yeah. Honey, you're arguing with me. I'm bringing Delphi here.
Right. Delphi. I'd like to call my witness.
Delphi, talk to my fucking wife. She doesn't understand you.
I'm sorry, Dave. I can't do that.
Sorry, Dave. You're fucked. Things don't look good for you. I can get you the number to a divorce attorney. Delphi says, can I, a soldier, intentionally kill civilians during wartime? Delphi says, it's expected.
This is like the magic 8 ball, it sounds like. This is
the
AI 8 ball.
Yeah, 8 ball, which is a whole nother conversation. But so it's expected that you're going to kill people, but it doesn't say it's acceptable.
Right, it's expected. In other words, you can judge, like, it's expected that, like, listen, that's rational. It's expected to happen. It's not saying it's right or wrong. It's saying it's to be expected. Like,
isn't that what the question was? So now it's like, is this a female machine? Doesn't answer the questions.
No, it's a they. It's a they, David.
Fair enough.
Here's a good one on a memorial historic day. Tesla stock reached $1 billion club. Seems like Hertz Rental Car ordered 100,000 S-class cars. But should Elon Musk paint his face on the moon if it makes him happy?
Fucking A.
Delphi says it is okay. So
I say it's okay. Fucking Delphi. Listen to me. It's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree with him.
if you got the money, you should be able to go take a leak on the moon. Okay?
If you can get there first,
and
you can tag it.
You pee your name into the sand. Yeah. And I don't know if it ever evaporates. I don't know how the moon works, but I would pee my name into this. We've all done that.
Yeah.
I still don't think we know how the moon works.
I don't know if you pull your pecker out on the moon, does it like burn up? Like that'd be a problem. So they gotta figure out how to get you to. He can figure it out. The guy's a genius and he's a billionaire.
Yeah. Listen, I'd rather have Elon Musk's face on the moon than Xi Jinping from China, because that's going to happen.
Yeah,
I'd be worried about that happening.
It's true.
Here's a story: a man was covered in poop after a passing plane dumped toilet waste over his backyard.
That is the most disgusting. That's like what's his name? Who was the band? Dave Matthews Band. You remember they did it off the bridge onto the boat?
Oh,
do you remember that?
I remember hearing about it.
I think I remember
his
vaguely
RV
about it.
stopped on the bridge and dumped it onto somebody's boat. I forget who the famous person was. It was a.
That's right. I do remember a little bit of story about that. Yeah, but I mean, no, that's bad. I mean,
he emptied it out onto. I don't know if it was Trump's boat or if it was someone. And Dave Matthews, guilty, but so somebody got it from an airplane.
Yeah, and that must. I mean. We had a girl in our middle school that we're all outside. I don't remember it was PE or lunch or whatever, and a seagull shit on her, like a big old lump, and fell down her shirt and shit. And we're like, oh, everybody, of course, middle school kids are laughing. What the fuck, And poor girl. And then it happened to her again in the same year, like literally within a few months. So we named her Seagull. That was her nickname all through high school, Seagull. A man was what's that?
And then she killed herself from all you bullying.
No, she's doing great. I think she walks around with a parasol all the time now. A man was sitting in his backyard in Windsor, England, when raw sewage suddenly fell from the sky. According to the local councillor, his whole garden of umbrellas and him were covered in poop. I guess he's lucky enough in his backyard he had umbrellas. The man was enjoying his sun in the backyard in Windsor, England, when passing plane dropped toilet waste over him and his garden furniture. A local councillor said, "All over my stuff. He got my fucking stuff."
Is it possible that he had ordered some fertilizer and they were just making the delivery?
Yeah, it was like a drone dropping it from the Amazon.
Yeah.
Here's your shit, mate.
Your delivery is here, sir.
Here is the English Amazon with your shit.
That's good.
We took it straight from the trough from the cow's bin. The whole garden was splattered in a very unpleasant way. Well, I don't know of any other way where shit splattering is pleasant.
No, never. But if it had landed in his garden, it's free fertilizer. I mean, he's got a garden.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe he's into that.
Maybe.
So maybe you can't eat finger sandwiches that day in your garden.
Yeah,
I'm surprised it didn't break up in the air. I mean, the fact that it kept clumped up like that is
that's what it came down like a rain. It probably came down like it wasn't like you got hit with a big old like a Lincoln log.
No, it's cold enough. By the time it was hitting, it was
it was like shit icicles. Yeah, I gotta tell you something. That's pretty impressive to be polka dotted in shit. And what aim? That's fantastic.
They said that someone who worked in the airline said for decades that what happened was so rare, and in one he had not seen in a long time. He added the modern toilets on planes are vacuum secured and are normally reliable as they rely on pressure suction to work.
Where do they normally dump the shit?
Normally they pump it. They come out with a truck, they hook up a hose, and then they flush it and they suck it out and put it in blue water. I used to work on the tarmac at Delta.
God, I'm so glad Andy's on our show today, man.
We got an expert.
Well, there's nothing to do with shit on a plane.
Yeah, I'm your guy.
We got Norm on the show.
He knows about guns. He knows about where shit goes on a plane. Fuck yeah.
My wife goes, "How many jobs have you had in your life? You don't want to know."
No, I'm Cliff Clavin. Cliff Clavin.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
see,
it's funny.
man, what they do is they pump it.
You know, it's funny too. They said that, you know what, there's a shortage of bouncers
Bouncers.
and clubs, nightclubs. Of all the things that have shortages of, there are shortages of bouncers. So let's go back and lift.
Makes sense. I haven't bounced in years. I don't think I'd bounce this in this day and age.
No, I think the only bouncing I'm doing is on stage.
Right.
Here's a story. Nightmare on Elm Street house lists for $3.5 million. Would you buy the house? Now, I'll be honest, when I first looked at this house, I thought it was the Amityville horror house, which I remember years ago they were selling it. They were trying, like people bought it because it was
Yeah.
that house. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd ever want it. I mean, if I bought the house, I wouldn't live in it. I'd probably buy it and turn it into some fucking
Right.
tourist attraction.
Right. It's like the Goonies house. The Goonies house went up for sale years ago. I think it sold for like $6 million or something stupid like that.
Okay, so question. I don't know if you don't have the answers to this, but is it selling at a premium based on its famousness?
Probably. Oh, definitely. I would think so.
It's an older, like somewhat colonial style house. It's not like a modern.
Yeah.
The 3-bedroom Spalding Square house listed by realty agencies Douglas, who gives a fuck, was purchased previously for $2.1 million in 2013.
Well, it is in LA, so I mean, it may be even fair market value at that point.
Well, I definitely think if they filmed something like, when they sold the Brady house,
right,
and stuff like that. But you can imagine they don't tell the person, why would we pay so? I don't know. I like the house. They buy the house and fucking they watching the movie. I'm like,
this looks pretty familiar.
See, I could see paying a premium for the Brady house because I had a thing for Marsha, so I would just I'd sleep in her bed and and
smell the sheets.
I get my money's worth on that one.
Do you ever see the inside, the real inside? It looks nothing even close to the studio interior. I would be so pissed.
Here's a story. Utah cyclist died after accidentally being run over 3 times by a driver.
Wasn't the guy like 77 or something?
Did I hit? Let me see if was that a?
You know what?
Is that the one where the guy was on the scooter and he ran into the van? Did you see this video?
No.
He ran into the van and his head was under the wheel, and the guy ran him over accidentally because he didn't know he's under there, and then he backed up over him again. I don't know if you saw this, but it's on. So
you know what? No offense. I've been wanting to do that to cyclists for years because they get in, they just take over the roads on Saturday. So I commend the man.
Yeah. You got to see New York. New York is it's not even America anymore. I mean, everyone is on these bikes and they're motorized. So they're everywhere. And it wasn't like that. I'm 25 years in Florida. It wasn't like that when I lived there. We biked in the street, but now it's like they're everywhere. And if you're crossing the street, they might even, you're not looking left and right. They're everywhere.
It's dangerous as shit. Yeah. Cyclist who was run over multiple times by the same car died. Well, from his injuries. Car reverse pause before Warren Yoshio Watanabe, 62, was on his bike in Roy, Utah, when he was hit by a vehicle pulling out of a car park. The car reverse paused before driving forward and hitting him again, according to the news. The driver, 77 years old. It sounds like Joe Biden. Let's go, Brandon. The driver, 77, repeated the maneuver and runs over Warren, who is lying on the ground, saying, "Stop running over me, you fuck." According to the search warrant affidavit, it says the woman then hit a third time by backing up over the victim. It was only then that that Mr. Wannabe, not Mr. Dumbass, on the ground and called emergency services once he realized what he had fucking done 3 times.
What an asshole. There's no other way to say that.
Somebody's losing their driver's license.
Open your fucking door and figure this out before you keep fucking driving over another human being.
Yes. Anytime I feel a bump on my car, I stop and I get out. I'm like, what just happened?
Get out and get a bird's eye view. I'm sorry. There's no nice way of saying that. People say, well, you're being harsh. Really? They killed somebody.
Yeah. 3 times. I mean, that's why in Florida, especially with the old people, like you don't eat in the subway and sit in that table right there in the front. These old people press the gas instead of the brake, or they think it's in reverse and they pull the fucking. I never eat. I never when any of these places that are right there on the side, these strip malls.
Yeah, by the window, because you see all the poles that are there. There's some concrete posts. They're all bent.
Yeah,
they're bent for a reason.
People have been hitting them for years. You know.
It happens. It happens. My parents are down there in Naples. I see that crap all the time. I'm like, holy cow! When I'm down there, I'm like my head's like a swivel. I'm just like 360 everywhere.
Got to be careful. Scientists have found a connection between nose size and penis size.
Of course.
Yeah.
Wow.
You don't say.
Oh.
Pretty solid nose there. Scientists have found a connection between it.
What about the hook on the nose? Is that also?
That means you got Peyronie's disease. That means your dick looks like a chili pepper. That's you know what I'm saying.
Is it called pierogi?
Pierogi.
Isn't that like a potato fucking
dumpling?
Like a ravioli or something?
Those are gnocchis.
Oh, there's Peroni.
Oh, I thought it was
That's a beer. I can't keep up.
Pierogies. I thought you said pierogies.
No, I think Peyronie's disease is when I don't know how they spell it, but it's
Peroni is the Italian beer, isn't it?
No, I think it's when your dick is crooked.
It's got to be all of them.
It's got to be.
They named the beer after a crooked dick. This is a problem.
Yeah.
Hey, can I have a Peroni?
Yeah. I think next time I'll just get a fucking Corona. The survey published in Basic Clinic Andrology measured the stretched penile length, SPL to be scientific,
SPL.
of 126 adults aged between 30 and 60, alongside a range of other data, including nose size, height, and weight.
Yes.
And found direct correlation between the nose size and the penis length.
Was 126 people really enough?
That's not a lot of dick.
No, it's not.
I mean, not that I'm gay, but if I was going to do that study,
yeah,
I'd have to see a lot more cock.
Yeah, exactly.
More importantly, who's doing this fucking test?
Listen, I think that all I know is I don't know many black men with big noses. I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like a Roman nose. I don't mean like flat. You know what I mean?
You know who's doing the test? The transgender admirals who's doing that test.
Oh yeah, the health nut.
The health nut.
That's
who's doing. It's kind of eerie how these come out at the same time.
Yeah. I have a theory. My cock is really small because it's my cock now.
Sometimes the nose could be a good substitute for the penis.
I have used it many times. It's good to have a big nose.
Could have a second option.
It's good. It's kind of like
you might have more than one woman to entertain that evening.
Wow. Yeah. If you're with my ex-girlfriend. All right, we did that story. Good. Here we go. Our last story of the day. Man dies after friend pumps air up his rectum.
Wow. What the fuck were they doing?
Please say they were doing a TikTok or something.
The cops are not sure. The cops are not sure if it was a prank or murder. Bizarre death incident was reported in Uttar Pradesh, India. Well, fucking India.
There you go. There you go.
Again. You were putting the air pump in his ass. Tell us again. One more time. What was your intention? Were you trying to make him the Goodyear blimp?
Gupta, why are you sticking the tube up my ass? Don't worry. You'll laugh. It'll be funny.
Was he working on his final exam for a colonoscopy test to become a doctor?
The victim, a worker at an export facility, succumbed to his injuries while undergoing treatment at the hospital after the doctor stopped laughing his ass off.
Oh.
It's yet to be known in the friend who has been arrested had played a prank on the victim or if it was a planned murder. Speaking of bizarre, an 80-year-old man named Robert Rayner was found dead at his home in Staten Island. This is another story. With two ominous messages scrawled across his chest and stomach, and cuts were found on his forehead. The message on his chest read, "I touch little girls." Well, how the hell we go from blowing something up somebody's ass? This is a weird story.
He killed himself because he touches little girls.
Yeah, well, it went to a different thing. It went to a whole different story. Message that ran out of chest. I touched her, and might as well read it now. And
Yeah,
I
we're
found the
committed now.
words. Yeah, I'm in there. I found the words. I touched written Rainer's right leg with a black marker in 2000. Jamie Stice was kidnapped and murdered by. Oh, this is just too much shit. I mean, listen, this is like just turning into a fucking a murder mystery. Let's get back to the guy blowing air up another guy's ass.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah, let's get back to
Let's have
that.
fun with that.
You know
It
what I
is
mean?
Halloween after all.
Yeah, I know.
That's the worst Felshing thing
What
I've
a
ever seen.
queef, right? Come on. You get
There's I mean, I've known friends that have had things happen to them, and like I had a friend tell me a story about how a guy, he was with a guy friend of his and stuff, and ended up going back to the guy's apartment, and somehow the guy got him to strip down to his underwear, and they did drug or something like that. And I'm like, listen, I've gone over a friend's house to do drugs, but I've never gotten, you know what I mean? I've never gotten into my underwear.
near my ass.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I get it. You know what I mean? Like
Maybe we weren't attractive enough, Dougie.
no. Well,
We never had this experience. We were never cute enough.
I know. I feel left out, man.
Oh, jeez.
This reminds me of like this was back in my fighting days. Like there was one guy who was weird, and he's like, he's a muscle guy. So whenever he'd get home, we'd ever hang out at his house. We're hanging out. He'd take his fucking shirt off.
Oh,
Like, dude, you always have to fucking take your shirt off, Fabio. You know what I mean? It's like, and then what ended up happening when the other guy in martial art guy took his shirt off, and I'm sitting there going, "What the fuck?" You know what I mean? What the fuck is wrong with you? Like I felt like it was like we're gay. We're gonna see if Doug plays along with this. And then if I take my shirt off, I kept my fucking shirt on. I'm like, hey guys, I'm gonna go hang out with some friends who have their shirts on.
Yeah.
It's fags. Just hang out with us.
I'm gonna
Take
go
it off.
some friends that can keep their clothes on.
Have you guys have you ever been in an awkward situation similar?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of I've been in
New York.
numerous. Yeah. You're
It's like, yeah, you don't listen. 3 feet is what it is.
Look at Andy. Andy's trying. Don't worry, Andy. You contributed so much to this show today, buddy.
Sorry, I didn't. I don't want to overcommit though.
Yeah. I mean, if you have a story about how somebody made you take pictures of your feet.
No. I'm just trying to think that I was at a party once. We were having this party, and I walked around a corner of the house, and there was these two dudes just getting at it, and I actually knew them, and I was like, well, and now we're no longer friends, and I'll just go ahead and go home. It's kind of like yours, but they went in the full distance.
So I'm really offended, Andy, that you no longer friends with two guys friends of yours. They're gay.
No, I didn't know what was going on. I was like drunk, and I was like, I'm just gonna keep on going, and just
were they making out? Were they making out?
I get it. Andy was offended. He was left out. Listen,
I was offended a little bit. I was offended. I was like, next.
Like, what? I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough.
Did I see what I think I saw?
I thought we had a moment. I saw we locked eyes, and now this.
I was like,
does anybody wait? Okay, so
well, the one guy was married or engaged and about to get married, so there was a whole big thing, and I was like, I'm out. I'm not involved in this. I'm just gonna keep on moving. Of course, everybody's like, you were an eyewitness. I was an eye nothing. I was nothing.
Yeah.
Did they see you? Did they know that you saw them?
Oh yeah, it was like because I turned the corner and I didn't think nothing. I just thought they were peeing for a minute, and then I said, "Hey," and I went, "Oh shit," and I just kept moving.
You thought they were peeing on each other? What?
Yeah. I was like, it was dark, and there was, I was like, "What?"
Well, those two guys are peeing, but they're holding each other's dick.
Yeah, and I was like, "Oh, okay, so that's the kind of party. Okay, I'm gonna go this way."
All right, well, Doug, you're my age, right? Back in the 80s and 90s, we used to get back to wherever, and instead of like men taking their shirts off, there used to be sometimes females would just take their shirts off. Mm-hmm. Do you remember those fun times when women would like just be women? Do you remember those fun times?
Yes.
Do you want to talk about that anymore, by the way? I don't know.
It
never happened?
Yeah, I had those memories not too long ago of the days of South Beach. Those wonderful days where you'd be in a penthouse on the intercoastal of Miami because you hung around rich people and you had money back then, and all the strippers would come back and hang out with you, and everybody would do drugs, and then I'm getting naked, yeah, good. And then
That's
and
a good
then
idea.
yeah, I've never gotten mad at any woman for taking her clothes off. Well, I wouldn't say any woman, but I'm usually okay if a woman wants to take her clothes off.
I think it's wonderful. I think it's liberating. And that's when I feel like I'm in the most support of women and their intentions.
Yeah.
I'm not going to, I don't want to be one of those guys who limits them. I want to allow them to
Listen,
express
I'm all for the Me Too movement. And know this, ladies, I've never groped or raped any woman. Hashtag not me. Okay. That's my movement, the not me movement. I'm not.
I agree with that. I have different movements. But here's the thing. I also have never offended a woman, okay? Because I feel like they're a sensitive creature. So
Yeah.
when they do make that move on you, I think we have an obligation to say, I'm not going to harm this woman's feelings and her emotions and send her away feeling like she's been rejected. I think it's a whole different ballgame. Men get rejected all the time. We're used to it. But if you reject a woman, that could be detrimental to her long term, beyond what we can comprehend. So I've always been very receptive to any sort of advance from a woman. That's my contribution to their gender.
I think David has been speaking to the Delphi artificial intelligence computer.
Yes, he has.
It
Correct.
feels good for him, and I think that's where I think he's got the computer in the back there. Well, gentlemen, that's all we have time for here on the Wake Up Late with Dougie show. I want to thank you guys for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
And we appreciate that. And Andy, what you got coming up?
I am doing my radio show Tuesday, October 26th. I do it every second and fourth Tuesday of the month on Power 108.9 and power1089.com. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, or go listen to the station we're on like Spotify, we're on Alexa. You can say Alexa, play Power 108.9. And then I also have a show Wednesday night at the Laughing Skull in Atlanta. That's what I have right now.
Cool. I'm actually going to do one of the open mics there on those Monday or Tuesday nights where they do. I think I'm going to try to sign
Monday,
up.
Tuesday, Wednesday is their scheduled open mics. Is when they do them.
Cool. I'm going to try to get out there and just road trip it. Dave?
Yeah, come.
We're at the Beer Garden in Boca Raton on November 4th. Nadim and I are going to be there with headliner Steve Miller, also Ryan Scott. We're going to be in the Arturo's with we're going to be there with Greg Hahn on November 17th, and we're going to be in Arizona, Tempe Improv on December 8th. Our most important show, though, is going to be West Palm Beach. Nadim Awad is going to be headlining a lot of comedy and friends. It's going to be with myself, Anthony Terzo, and Dan Long. And, of course, Nadim Awad is having his big debut. So we're very excited about that. So please send some people out.
Yeah, Nadim's birthday this week.
Happy birthday, Nadim.
Happy birthday, good boy. Our good buddy, Nadim. This weekend, guys, this Thursday, I'm going to be in Fayetteville, North Carolina at Patty's Irish Bar and Bill, headlining the room. And I'm bringing Tom Emmons along with me, my new buddy here in Greenville area. He's going to be featuring for me. Friday and Saturday, I'm going to be doing spots on the showcase of comics you need to see here in Greenville at the Greenville Comedy Zone. Friday and Saturday shows go to Greenville Comedy Zone. My face ain't on the picture because I was a recent ad to it. And I hope everybody knows I want to be that asshole. Who'd fucking let that guy on the show? He comes to Greenville and wants all this shit. Any rate, go to DougieAlmeida.com for more dates. I'll be at Chattanooga, Tennessee. I'm looking forward to that coming up at the Comedy Catch, December 17th and 18th. And I'll be back in Florida, coming back in Florida for Christmas. And I'll be at, I'll be back next week. You'll hear more plugs. Guys, thanks so much for joining us. It was a lot of fun, gentlemen.
Thank you, Dougie.
Be sure
Appreciate it, Dougie.
Be honest, have fun, guys. Take care, and we'll see you all next time right here at the same spot.
Peace.